Hello everyone, welcome to this news hour on Equinoxe television live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital Douala. I am Bablet Jonathan in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. The regional delegation of secondary education reveals that 11 out of the 34 subdivisions of the region have been deprived of education by the 5-year-long Anglophone crisis, a crisis that has provoked the death of at least 92 teachers and some students. We'll bring to you details with our correspondent in Bamenda, Bustela, in this edition of the news. In the meantime, the stakeholders of education in the region are calling on the regional officials to pay special attention to this problem, notably the educational sector affected by the crisis. In the southwest region of the country, Governor Bena Okalie Bilai issues a warning to regional officials with regards to the holding of the session and the functioning of the regional institutions. He tells them they have to do everything to avoid disrespecting the law. Thank you for staying with us. We begin in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, where recent statistics from the delegation of secondary education indicates that at least 11 out of the 34 subdivisions of the region have been deprived of education. Schools have not been functioning in those subdivisions because of the close to 5-year-long armed conflict going on in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. And according to the regional delegation of secondary education for the northwest, the crisis has provoked the death of 92 teachers and some students. Stella Faris in details from Bamenda.
Loopholes in the educational and judicial systems, particular to English-speaking Cameroonians, form the basis of the current armed conflict. Secondary education statistics 5 years into the now armed conflict have been described as shocking. Between 2016 and June 1, 2021, when the report was presented by Ngwang Roland, Regional Delegate for Secondary Education for the Northwest, 340 students and 254 teachers were kidnapped. 3 students and 92 teachers died as a direct consequence of the crisis. Currently, 11 out of the 34 subdivisions of the Northwest region have no functioning schools operational. This means over 120,000 children are out of school, with a large majority stranded in their communities.
Humbly accepting that the crisis has touched all the nooks and crannies of this region, I wish to say that the education sector has been hardest hit. So I wish to appeal that before being what we are, the wonderful citizens of this nation and this region that we are, we are first and foremost parents. So I'm appealing that anything that touches on these our kids, let's be sensitive about it. Let's be passionate. I wish to appeal that when the means shall be provided, sir, to this wonderful assembly, and you are locating the resources which would surely not be very much, not be enough. That when it comes to the budget, you should kindly see to it that all the afflictions that we named here, the efforts that we made so far, a boost should come from this august assembly.
The Regional Assembly says they are setting aside 305 million francs CFA for the construction and equipping of 7 laboratories and workshops in technical schools in the 7 divisions of the Northwest region, the rehabilitation of destroyed classrooms and all vocational centers vandalized in the Northwest region, through the intensive direct labor approach. This money will also be used to carry out feasibility studies for the rehabilitation of destroyed schools and the creation of a regional vocational training center. The Northwest Regional Assembly and the House of Chiefs inclusive is expected to be an institution in its real meaning and not an event that was discussed to be organized at a major national dialogue, and it is only happening now. For at the end of their mandate, they will be judged by the reforms they brought and not how much they tried or how far they went in making life better in the Northwest region.
And deliberations to vote the budget of the Regional Assembly is ongoing as we speak in the town of Bamenda. A section of representatives, or some representatives, are quoting the law and demanding the usual 15 days to be given, but the president is quoting other sections of the law, saying it's an emergency, and some representatives say they are avoiding errors of the past, and the budget as of now stands at 3 billion francs CFA pending adoption, and if adopted, the budget will be 3 billion francs CFA. Honorable Njinkum Musa Kesto at the National Assembly pleads with the representatives to accept the procedure and that it will be better next time. And deliberations are still going on in the Northwest Regional Chief Town, Bamenda. Now we take you to the Southwest region, where the governor has issued warnings against violation of the laws of the land, notably the laws on decentralization and the functioning of the regional institutions. He called on the regional officials to work within the ambits of the law for the well-being of the area under their command, notably the Southwest region. He was speaking during a session of the regional assembly, that is the regional assembly officials meeting today in Boya, discussing issues about the region, notably how to do their job in such a way as to restore peace and normalcy and enhance the development and well-being of the people of that region. Derijato reports.
The Southwest Regional Council is in session to examine and adopt the 2021 budget. From when these members were installed, the Southwest population say very little is happening. In what was titled the statement from the representative of the state, Southwest Governor Bernardo Kaliabilai took the consciences of these members of the Regional Council to the Holy Bible.
As a biblical passage from the Gospel according to Matthew chapter 5 verses 13 teaches us on this aspect. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is therefore good for nothing but to be cast out. It is in this spirit that I invite all bureau members of the Regional Executive Council and regional councillors present at this session of today to be the first to believe in this institution.
A region that has witnessed its street and homes stained with blood, the Regional Assembly should not be another problem, he added.
We should not forget that the creation of this Regional Assembly in implementation of one of the most important resolutions of the major national dialogue was a source of great hope among the leading forces of our region, as well as constitute for them a solution to the security challenges faced by our population. In this light, this regional council, which is a solution, should not become a problem.
As to the autonomy of this regional assembly, the Southwest governor reminded these members that they will be checked, called to order, or sanctioned by his office.
To bear in mind the provision of section 289 paragraph 1, and I quote, where the regional council sits and rules outside its legal sessions or on topic outside its jurisdiction, the representative of the state shall take all appropriate measures to immediately put an end to the meeting. End of quote.
And for 3 days, these members of the Southwest Regional Assembly will examine a draft budget of 2,750,000,000 francs CFA.
Mayors from the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon have asked the government to increase the financial support destined to help them integrate and handle cases of disabilities in their municipalities. They say their context deserves a special consideration because the strength of their local revenue has been challenged or seriously adversely affected by the Anglophone crisis. The mayors were speaking in Yaoundé during a capacity building seminar on how to integrate physically challenged persons into the society, starting with their municipalities. The ceremony, organized by the Cameroon Baptist Convention in collaboration with the Ministry of Social Affairs, was an occasion for mayors to express their worries. Now take a listen to the mayor of Balikumba in the northwest region of the country and one of the organizers, Glory Ago.
Balikumba being one of the councils that is already heavily involved in this process of integration with sustainable development, taking handicaps into consideration, given the fact that we already have the first phase of our social center, which has already been done, waiting for the second phase, and a good number of handicaps already working in our council. I think the message of the minister is clear to us, and we'll go back and try to strengthen in that domain to see that we have more than we do more than we are doing already. And we call to on the ministry concerned, the Ministry of Social Affairs. We know much has been done, but we still look for them to do more, given the particular situation the Northwest and the Southwest are facing, and the difficulty our handicapped population are facing at this particular moment. We would like to make a call to them on behalf of all the mayors of the Northwest and the Southwest regions that more should be done in the social domain, especially when it comes to our handicapped population.
The Cameroon Baptist Convention works in alignment with global policies, with national policies that has to do with protecting those who are socially vulnerable, in addition to its core objectives, which is providing care for all. And so, in accordance with the agenda for the Sustainable Development Goal, which is leave no one behind, persons with disabilities, according to the Constitution of Cameroon, they are persons who have rights on equal basis like persons without disabilities. And that is why we have brought together all the stakeholders that you see here today from the various councils, the mayors, those from the social action centers, to be able to practically train them on how to actually include persons with disabilities.
Now to Bongala village in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, where a chieftaincy crisis has come to add to the socio-political and security crisis affecting that part of the southwest as well as the rest of Anglophone Cameroon. And the administration, notably the divisional officer for Boya, was in Bongala village in view of settling the crisis between the indigenous of Bongala village over the chieftaincy of the area. Derek Jato, rather Davidson Maimo has more.
Since the demise of Chief Ngumba Williams of Mbongala village in Bojongo Court area on the 4th of October 2019, the people of this village situated at the foot of Mount Cameroon with a beautiful view of the Atlantic Ocean are yet to have peace. The village is in turmoil as chieftaincy crises continue to tear them apart despite having a new chief. In a crisis meeting ordered by Minat and chaired by the divisional officer of Boya subdivision, tension from two camps pushed the DO to order the press not to take any images. Nonetheless, in an interview with the press after the meeting, the DO called for calm, promising to look into all points raised by both camps.
I've listened to the submission and all of that, and now we need verification. Now it is, if there were error, the error will be corrected. If there were not error, then we can just maintain this.
The son of the late chief, Ngumba Ferdinand, whose document to Minat activated administration to revisit the chieftaincy saga, says the administration was misled.
The
the administration was actually misled by a group of grandchildren because of the issue of land. My great-grandfather was chief in this village. My grandfather was chief after his father died. Well, my father was the chief of Bongala, that is Chief Ngomba William Fike, succeeded from the father. The chieftaincy of this village has been in my lineage for 3 generations.
The presence of the paramount ruler of the Bomoko clan, King Liwoto, who says Bakwirians and the Bomokos are one family, could not go unnoticed.
As I told the deal, there is no way that a woman will go and beget a child from community X and bring the child to rule community A.
Every effort to get to Mvenga Emmanuel Mukake, the present chief, met with resistance.
What transpired on the 25th of August, that is a shame to the Bakwiri people, because a grandchild, you cannot contest chieftaincy in your mother's village.
While the administration is yet to react, note should be taken that Prince Ngomba Ferdinand, son of the late chief, petitioned the eligibility of the present chief at the level of Minat on grounds that there is high level of conspiracy.
Thank the Minister of Territorial Administration and the whole administration for looking back into this matter.
A clerk of the Nkonsamba Court of First Instance in the Mongo Division, Littoral Region of Cameroon, dies allegedly of injuries sustained in a fight with the wife of an officer of the National Armed Forces, and an unlawful relationship between the two is said to be at the origin of the fight that led to the death of the clerk, and the 27-year-old young woman is lying unconscious in the Nkonsamba Regional Hospital. Details with Smanji Gangebre.
The match on the ground was the only sign left behind after a fight that caused the life of an office clerk who is working at the Nkonsamba Court of First Instance. Aristide, as he was called, had a fight with his girlfriend Clarice at the Kilombo neighborhood because the girlfriend, who is married to a military officer, wanted them to put to an end to their relationship. A witness recounts. When someone is parking out, almost everything is removed, but with this case, just some few things were outside. After that, he closed the door and trashed the lady before sending her outside.
S'il a même fermé la porte pour corriger sa fille, femme, ou bien il a mis la femme dehors, il a fermé la porte.
According to the witness, the lady, Clarice, at each point provoked the man, reason for the confrontation outside the house.
Elle arrête dans le poignet. Elle secoue. Ça fait le bruit. Poum poum, ça fait le bruit.
The woman then returned to provoke the man. That is how the man followed the lady and caught her before another fight started outside.
C'est là où se met donc derrière elle, il la poursuit. Au niveau de chez moi en haut là, la petite allée qui va comme ça là. C'est là qu'ils ont commencé à bagarrer.
The man who had earlier beaten Clarice inside the house before engaging in a more bitter fight outside realized that he was bleeding as he went back to his house. As he went back home, that was when he discovered that he has been wounded and bleeding. He came out to look for a bike that will take him to the hospital. According to our sources at Kilombo neighborhood, the office clerk, Aristide, later gave up the ghosts on the way to the hospital, while Clarice is still unconscious at the Nkonsamba District Hospital.
Catholic Church is stepping up the fight against immorality and sexual abuse allegedly being committed by some of its servants, and the Vatican has now included in its code of canon law procedure to prosecute priests who are found guilty of sexual abuse against minors, and this is to enhance the protection of minors. And we brought this to Reverend Father James Bansi, priest or parish priest of Ntale in the Manfred Diocese of the Roman Catholic Church, and these are the explanations that he gave.
1395 paragraph 2 says that a cleric who has offended in other ways against the sixth commandment, if the offense is committed by force or with a minor under the age of 18, such a cleric is to be punished with just penalties, not excluding dismissal from the clerical state if the case so warrants. We see that it was a bit vague and gave discretion to bishops in some cases to decipher the kind of sanctions to be meted out to clerics who violate or who abuse minors and vulnerable adults. A vulnerable adult is someone who goes to another with a problem needing help, and instead of helping the person, the adult or the person, in this case a cleric, who takes advantage of such an adult, maybe who has come for spiritual help or financial help or any help or any guide. If such a cleric takes advantage and instead exploits the adult sexually, then if it can be proven in law that such a person did that, such a cleric did that, then the cleric can be sanctioned, the cleric can be prosecuted, not excluding dismissal from the clerical state. The church is doing this in order to improve, in order to protect the minors, in order to protect children, and in order to protect vulnerable adults. And in 1983 Code of Canon Law, which is what the church uses now, the church did not foresee that sexual abuse was a huge problem as it is said to be now in church. Now, the church, in revising such laws, gives clear indications on what is to be done to those who sexually abuse minors or vulnerable adults.
Reverend Father James Bansi went further to say that the church works in collaboration with judicial institutions in a bid to enhance the fight against that ill in the society, sexual abuse. Take a listen to these explanations.
It's important to note that the church's law works side by side with the civil law. The law is very clear. The civil law is very clear. This sexual abuse of minors and vulnerable adults is not only for clerics. Even those in the society, footballers, ministers, anybody in authority, teachers, lecturers, professors, journalists, if you abuse a minor or a vulnerable adult, the law also goes for you, and the church encourages countries that if they find adults abusing minors or other vulnerable adults, they should be prosecuted according to the law, and the law should actually protect children. The law should actually protect vulnerable adults. The law should actually protect everyone, because even in some court cases, some clerics are vulnerable. And if they become vulnerable in some cases, those who abuse them, exploit them sexually, should also be prosecuted and brought to justice.
Cameroon's Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manauda Malachi, decries the low rate of anti-COVID-19 vaccination in the medical corps in the west region of the Republic of Cameroon. During a visit to that part of the country, he noticed that only 61 out of more than 400 health personnel of the Bafoussam Regional Hospital have actually taken the dose of the anti-COVID-19 vaccines. Details with Charles Ekome.
Administrative officials and inhabitants in the West Regional Chief Town Bafoussam had the privilege to welcome the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malachi, and his entire delegation, who came to inspect health infrastructures in the city. The delegation made its first stop at the Bafoussam Reference Hospital, which has already begun renovation.
Satisfait parce que nous avons vu que les infrastructures sont
I am satisfied because we have seen for ourselves that the construction of these facilities facilities have been completed. At the moment, modern equipment is being deployed, and within a time frame of 1 month, we shall begin provisionary tests on these newly acquired health kits. We also believe that by the 15th or 16th of July, we shall be inaugurating the newly equipped laboratories and test centers, following instructions from the government. Manawuda Malashi insisted on the maintenance of the equipment which have been put at the service of the population. He further says a good number of health personnel will be trained on how to manage and manipulate this equipment. Moreover, a test center for COVID-19 will be created as well. The ministerial delegation later left for the regional hospital in Bafoussam, where they assessed the COVID-19 situation in the region. The minister was also shocked that only 61 out of more than 400 health officials had taken the COVID-19 vaccine at the health unit. He also noted down the problems faced by the health institution and ordered the opening of a hemodialysis center, the rehabilitation of scanners, and the renovation of surgical operation blocks, as well as the emergency unit.
Il était question également de revenir, n'est-ce pas, à l'hôpital régional.
It was primordial for us to stop at the regional hospital in Bafoussam to assess the COVID-19 situation and also to mobilize health personnel on the fight amidst the vaccination. We also took the opportunity to inspect the health facility as we have put measures in place to promote effective sanitary conditions.
Et puis, lutte contre le Covid.
The Minister of Public Health ended his visit in Bafoussam at the Famla District Hospital before his departure.
In sports, we bring to you updates on Cameroon's preparation ahead of the next African Nations competition that will be hosted by President Paul Biya's country, and some of the sports amenities that will welcome encounters during that continental football competition are not yet ready. And a case in point in this newscast in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
This crippling and almost abandoned road construction project is one of the major failures of the infrastructural preparatives ahead of the African Cup of Nations AFCON Cameroon 2021 pushed to 2022. It is a 5-kilometer stretch from the Nkulufulu roundabout to the Baba roundabout, passing through the Polo roundabout east of the political capital city of Cameroon, Yaoundé. On that stretch of the road is an imposing and soon to collapse signpost announcing the start of works even beyond the deadline for the project's delivery. Inhabitants doubt the will of the contractors to effectively execute the project and also blame what they qualify as a laissez-faire attitude of the government of Cameroon vis-à-vis the execution of public projects.
Depuis 2000 qu'on a engagé les travaux sur cette route, on ne voit pas la suite.
They say it's been 5 years since work started and the contracting company has consistently been inconsistent with work. Their claim is further justified by heaps of abandoned sand and gravel of the project site. Some of them say they were shocked to have learned that the contracting company subcontracted the project to a different company, which in turn subcontracted it to another, resulting to the execution on a slow motion pace. This strategic stretch was envisaged to decongest main town Yaoundé and facilitate circulation during AFCON 2021 matches played at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Yaoundé.
Talking Point is up next. Thank you for joining us in Talking Point. 2nd June 2020 to 2nd June 2021. 1 year has elapsed since Equinoxe Television revealed the death of journalist Samuel Wazizi, who was arrested and tortured to death, according to information revealed to us by our sources on the ground and of course the lawyers of the journalist of CMTV in the Southwest Regional, Captain Boya. Until now, the family of Samuel Wazizi is still expecting the corpse of the journalist. This is one of the incidents that brought to limelight the violation of the right to press freedom in the Republic of Cameroon, and many cases like this have occurred in the country. And today we are remembering this particular case. Barrister Edward Lyonga Ewule, member of the Cameroon Bar Association, barrister at law, Legend Law Offices, Boya. Barrister, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila Jonathan. It's always a pleasure for me to be here. I'm happy for the invitation.
You were and you are still one of the lawyers of journalist Samuel Wazizi, the journalist of CMTV, who died in detention, and his death was revealed by Equinoxe television 1 year ago. Until now, the corpse is yet to be handed over to the family. What's been happening all this while?
Yes, Mr. Babila Jonathan, it's a very sad thing because since it's 1 year today since Equinoxe revealed to the world that Samuel Wazizi died in military detention. It's a very sad thing. It was an embarrassment to our nation because we were in court with series of habeas corpus that I and my learned friend Barrister Nkia Emmanuel filed on behalf of Samuel Wazizi. But it was shocking to us from the revelation from Equinoxe that he had been killed some time ago. And that revelation came after, just after that revelation, we had the communication secretary of the Ministry of Defense who told the Cameroonian and the international body that Wazizi died in military custody. So it is very disturbing because right up till this moment, Wazizi's corpse has not been released to the family for closure, and we are still in court because after the decision, after the revelation from Equinoxe, the presiding judge then, Justice Boge Elvis went ahead to dismiss the habeas corpus application, relying on a communique from the Ministry of Defense. He relied on the communique of the Ministry of Defense, raising the issues of judicial notice. And the issue of judicial notice was well expatiated in the Evidence Ordinance Section 72 and 73 of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This Evidence Ordinance had been repealed. If you look at Section 746, it says that all of those laws that were practiced in the Southwest in the former CPO were repealed. So we don't know how the judge relied on the issue of judicial notice to dismiss our habeas corpus without looking at the crux of the matter. We're talking about somebody that was arrested illegally and taken to a military camp, and in the military camp we are getting information that the person is dead. The judge went ahead and dismissed the case, and
on grounds of judicial notice. Tell us a little more about this aspect of the law, judicial notice. What
judicial notice? It is an evidential issue, that is where a particular thing, a particular information have become so notorious that there is no doubt. For instance, it is judicial notice that there is a mountain in Boya, which is known as the Mount Cameroon. Those are things that you don't need any further evidence. But the judge cannot rely on issues of judicial notice on something that has just been read on radio by the Ministry of Justice without giving Ministry of Defense, without giving us the applicant time to test the veracity of that information. They did not give us time to argue that information, to maybe look at some of the loopholes as far as that that notice from the Ministry of Defense was concerned, because it said that Wazizi died from sepsis. And if you look at sepsis, you look at the definition of sepsis, look at the Black's Law Dictionary 9th edition and other definition of sepsis, it talks about internal wounds. If you really ask, so how did he get those wounds? Because when I last saw him at the 3rd District Police Station in Munya, he was fine. And even the governor of the Southwest region testified when journalists went there that at the time that Wazizi left Buea, Wazizi was in good health, that Yaoundé should be asked. So, Mr. Babila Jonathan, at this time, we are presently at the Southwest Court of Appeal, and we are appealing the decision from the High Court of Fakou, because we filed 2 habeas corpus and it was dismissed. At this moment, we are presently at the Court of Appeal Southwest region, and I think the matter is coming up on the 8th of June 2021, and we are raising serious issues looking at the procedure that was used for our habeas corpus to be dismissed, and we are asking the court to tell the state of Cameroon to produce Bouazizi either dead or alive. Let Bouazizi be produced, let the family have the closure, and in most cases we are even asking reparation for the family, because the procedure was not followed. He died in military detention. And the French ambassador, after his audience with the head of state in the month of June 2020, told Cameroonians and the international public that the head of state have ordered for an independent inquiry into the death of Wazizi. But to be honest with you, right up to this moment, no information has been gotten as far as that inquiry is concerned.
Speaking on Equinoxe television, the head of the communication division or department of the Ministry of Defense indicated that the Ministry of Defense was waiting for the family to come for the corpse, and that they had informed the family to come take the corpse of Wazizi. 1 year has elapsed and the corpse is still nowhere to be found. What are they saying about the corpse? What are they saying about where is the whereabouts of the corpse of Samuel Wazizi?
We are very close with the family. We are in court asking for justice as far as the case of Wazizi is concerned, and we were also waiting for the head of state to come out with that independent inquiry, which will involve journalists, civil society, lawyers, the church. Let us have a clear circumstances that led to the death of Wazizi, and that has not been done. They are saying that the family should come for the corpse. I don't think that is the procedure. I think that no official document has been written to the family saying they said the corpse was at the military mortuary at Equinoxe. But up till today, we have not seen, no information has been given to the family concerning the corpse. And to be honest with you, the family need the corpse of Wazizi to bury, so that you have what is known as closure. Closure means that after the person is buried, because the family, they think that Wazizi is somewhere and that Wazizi will come one day. And some of us, the lawyers, I was the last human being to have seen Wazizi, and I believe that I will see him again. So that is why the family needs the body of Wazizi for the corpse to be buried and closure, and that is what we have not seen, and even reparation. And Mr. Jonathan, do you know that Wazizi left a child? This is what most international organizations contacted us during the time of the announcement from Equinoxe, and they wanted to find out about the child of Wazizi. But do you know that up till today, nobody is talking about the whereabouts of the child of the child of Wazizi left Buea after the arrest of Wazizi and went to be with the grandmother in Bamenda. And do you know that up till this moment, nobody's talking, the child is not going to school? All the international NGOs, the Cameroonian NGO, and this is the time that we are calling for you people. You guys should come on board and see how you can help the family of Wazizi, especially the child. The child was 9 years old. That was last year. I think the child is 10 years old now. And these are things that we are calling on the international community to help this little baby. And some information got to us about threats on some family members and some of the lawyers and so on. In some few seconds, we are rounding up. What do you know about that? That is true. That's true. I will not want to get to the details of it, but a lot of threats from the family members and even some of us, the lawyers. But we are happy that everything now is a bit under control. But we are still on the Wazizi case. We want justice as far as his death, circumstance around his death is concerned, and even reparation. Right, Barrister Edward Lionga Ewule, a member of the Cameroon Bar Association, barrister at law, legend or law offices in the Boya. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you. It's always a pleasure for me to be here, and I'll be ready to come back anytime I'm given the opportunity. Thank you. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Equinoxe is up next.